My name is Melissa Harding. I'm 35 years old, and I live in Minnesota. People say I'm quiet, organized, maybe too trusting. But on Christmas Eve, the man I married showed me exactly who he was, and I showed him the folder that ended everything. The tree lights blinked red and green across the living room floor. I was arranging the last few gifts under the branches when I heard Evan's car pull into the driveway. My heart lifted for just a second. Maybe tonight would feel like it used to. Maybe Christmas could fix us. The door opened. He walked in holding a suitcase. Not shopping bags. Not presents. Suitcase. I'm spending Christmas with someone else, he said flatly. No apology. No explanation. Just those words hanging in the air like ice. My chest tightened. The room spun. But something inside me stayed perfectly still. I walked to the drawer by the couch, pulled out a thick manila folder, and placed it on the coffee table between us. Evan's smirk faltered when he saw his name printed on the front. "What's that?" he asked, his voice suddenly cautious. I didn't answer. I just sat down and waited for him to open it. 6 months earlier everything looked normal. At least that's what I told myself. Evan worked late. I cooked dinner alone. We said I love you out of habit, not feeling. Then came our anniversary, July 12th. He'd never forgotten before. Not once in 7 years. But that morning, he kissed me on the forehead and left for work like it was any other day. When he came home, I asked gently, "Did you forget something today?" He looked confused, then annoyed. "Melissa, I've been working 12-hour shifts. Can you not guilt-trip me right now?" I didn't push. I just nodded and cleared the table. But that night I checked our joint credit card statement. There was a charge I didn't recognize. $287 at a restaurant I'd never heard of. Same day as our anniversary. Same city. I took a screenshot and saved it in a new folder on my laptop. I labeled it evidence. The next morning I asked Evan about the charge. Kept my voice light, casual. "Hey, what's Riverview Bistro? I saw it on the statement." His face changed just for a second, but I caught it. "Oh, that was a client meeting," he said quickly. "Why are you checking the card?" I wasn't checking. I just saw it. "Well, maybe don't go looking for problems, Melissa. It makes you seem paranoid." Paranoid. That word stung more than it should have. I wasn't. And honestly, it's kind of clingy. I didn't argue. I just smiled and said, "You're right. Sorry." But I took another screenshot. This time of his reaction, the way he turned the blame on me. A week later I ran into Karen, a woman from Evan's office at the grocery store. She smiled warmly and said, "Evan's been traveling a lot lately, hasn't he?" Froze. Traveling? Yeah, all those out-of-state trips. Must be exhausting for both of you. I nodded like I knew what she meant. But I didn't. Evan hadn't mentioned any trips. That night, I waited until Evan fell asleep. Then I opened our shared airline rewards account on my laptop. The page loaded slowly like it was giving me one last chance to stop. But I kept scrolling. 2 round-trip flights. Both booked under Evan's name. Both with a second ticket listed as special guest. My hands shook as I clicked on the first one. 3 weeks ago. The same weekend he said he was visiting his sick mother in Wisconsin. I called his mom the next morning. Just to check in, I told her. "Oh, Melissa, how sweet. I haven't seen Evan in months. Is he doing well?" My stomach dropped. "Yeah, he's fine. I'll tell him you said hi." I hung up and stared at the wall for a long time. Then I printed the flight records and added them to the folder. I didn't want to believe it. Not yet. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I called a divorce attorney. Not to file. Just to understand. The lawyer's name was Patricia Wells. She had kind eyes and a firm handshake. She listened without interrupting as I explained everything. The charges, the trips, the lies. When I finished, she leaned forward. "Melissa, I need you to quietly gather as much documentation as you can. Bank statements, emails, anything unusual. But don't confront him yet. Not until you're protected. Protected. Legally. Financially. Pause. Do you feel safe? The question caught me off guard. I opened my mouth to say yes, but the words stuck in my throat. I thought about Evan's cold stares, his sharp words, the way he made me feel small. Finally I whispered, I think so. Patricia didn't look convinced. If that changes, call me immediately. I left her office with a list of things to do and a knot in my chest that wouldn't go away. Over the next few weeks, Evan became a stranger. He stopped eating dinner with me, started locking his phone. When I asked him questions, he'd sigh like I was exhausting him. One night I made his favorite meal, lasagna, garlic bread, the works. I set the table and waited. He walked in, glanced at the food and said, I already ate. Oh, where? Does it matter? I just thought. You thought wrong, Melissa. Stop trying to control everything. He grabbed a beer from the fridge and disappeared into the bedroom. I heard the lock click. I sat alone at the table and wrote everything down in a journal. Date, time, what he said, how he said it. Patricia told me to document emotional patterns too. So I did. The next day, I checked my personal savings account, the one my grandmother left me. It was still in my name only, but something felt off. Called the bank. The representative pulled up my account and paused. Ma'am, there was an access attempt 2 days ago. Someone tried to log in using incorrect credentials. My blood turned cold. Can you tell me where it came from? It was flagged as suspicious because it came from a different device. We blocked it automatically. I added security questions, changed my password, and removed any shared access Evan might have thought he had. A week later, the bank called me. There was unusual activity on the joint account, a scheduled transfer set for the following Monday. It's for $15,000, the representative said. It was set to move into an external account we don't recognize. Cancel it, I said immediately. And freeze any future transfers without my direct approval. Done. We'll also flag this for review. I hung up and felt my hands trembling. $15,000. He was trying to drain me before I even knew what was happening. That night, Evan came home late. I was in bed pretending to sleep. He moved quietly through the house, checking his phone every few seconds. When he finally came to bed, I heard him curse under his breath. Then I heard him typing furiously. He just discovered the transfer didn't go through, and he had no idea I was the one who stopped it. I pulled the blanket tighter and stared into the dark, my heart pounding. 2 days later, I received a message from an unknown number. No name, just a photo. It showed Evan at a restaurant, the same one from the credit card charge. His hand was on a woman's waist. She was laughing. He was smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. Below the photo, the message read, "You deserve better." I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. Then I zoomed in on the background. The sign outside the window was clear. Riverview Bistro. I knew that place. It was right across from Evan's office. Whoever sent this wanted me to know. And now I did. I didn't respond to the message. I just saved the photo and added it to the folder. The evidence was piling up, piece by piece, like a puzzle I didn't want to finish but couldn't stop building. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the woman in the photo. Who was she? Did she know about me? Did it even matter? I decided to check Evan's email. We had a shared tablet in the living room, one we both used for recipes, shopping lists, casual things. His email was still logged in. Opened it. My hands were shaking. The inbox was full of work messages, spam, the usual clutter. But then I saw a name that appeared over and over. Jenna. Clicked on the first one. Last night was perfect. I can't stop thinking about you. I clicked another. I know it's complicated, but we'll figure it out. I promise. And another. 3 more weeks until Christmas. Then it's just us. No more hiding. I read them all. Every single one. They'd been seeing each other for months. She worked with him. She knew he was married. And she didn't care. The last email was dated 2 days ago. It mentioned a trip, Just the two of them, planned for Christmas. I closed the tablet and sat in the silence of my living room. The tree lights blinked. The ornaments swayed slightly from the heat vent. Everything looked normal. But nothing was. The next morning I met with Patricia again. I brought printed copies of the emails, the bank records, the flight confirmations. Everything. She flipped through the pages slowly, her expression unreadable. Finally she looked up. "Melissa, this is more than enough. We can file for financial separation protections immediately. It'll safeguard the house and your personal assets." "The house was my grandmother's," I said quietly. "Evan didn't pay a cent toward it." "Then it stays yours. Legally, he has no claim." He paused. "There's a court date available, December 24th. It's unconventional, but given the urgency, I recommend we take it. Christmas Eve." The irony wasn't lost on me. "Do it," I said. Patricia nodded. "One more thing. If he tries to access your accounts again, document everything. This kind of behavior strengthens your case significantly." I left her office feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Control. Evan thought he was 10 steps ahead. But I'd been running a different race the whole time. That weekend, Evan sat me down. His face was serious, almost concerned. For a moment I thought he might confess. "Apologize. Fix this." Instead he said, "Melissa, we need to talk about money." I stayed quiet. "I've been thinking we should refinance the house. Free up some cash flow. It would help both of us." "Both of us." As if this was a team decision. "The house is fine," I said carefully. "It's not about fine. It's about being smart. You're holding us back financially by being so rigid." Holding him back. As if I was the problem. "I'll think about it," I said. "Don't think too long." He stood up, grabbed his jacket and left. No kiss. No goodbye. My phone buzzed. A notification from the court system. The hearing was confirmed. December 24th, 10 a.m. I read the message twice, then deleted it. Evan would never know. A few days later, Evan made a mistake. We were arguing. Another pointless fight about nothing and everything, when he said, "I'm tired of explaining myself every time I go to Denver." Froze. "Denver?" He blinked. "What? You said Denver. You've never mentioned going to Denver." His face changed. He recovered quickly but not fast enough. "I meant Chicago. You're twisting my words again." But I wasn't. He'd slip. He was mixing up his stories. Mixing me up with her. I didn't push. I just nodded. "You're right. I must have misheard." But later, when he went to shower, I turned on my phone's voice recorder and left it on the kitchen counter. If he slipped again, I'd have proof. And he did. Over the next few days, I caught 3 more inconsistencies. He mentioned restaurants I'd never been to. Streets I didn't recognize. Details that didn't belong to our life. He was living 2 lives. And he was starting to confuse them. One evening, I was in the bedroom when I heard Evan on the phone in the hallway. His voice was low, almost tender. Nothing like the way he spoke to me anymore. "No, I won't be home for Christmas," he said. "I'll tell her right before I leave. It'll be fine." She's too soft to fight back. Trust me." My chest tightened. I pressed my ear closer to the door. "I'll be there by noon on the 24th. Pack light. We'll buy anything else we need." Another pause. Then a quiet laugh. "I know. I can't wait either." He hung up. I heard his footsteps moving toward the bedroom. I dove back into bed and pretended to read. When he walked in, he didn't even look at me. Just changed his clothes and left again. Too soft to fight back. Those words echoed in my head all night. He'd underestimated me. They all had. The next morning I moved everything that mattered. Important documents went into a lockbox at my friend Sarah's house. I changed every password on every account. I backed up photos, files, and emails to a cloud service Evan didn't know existed. When I met with Patricia again, I handed her a flash drive. "Everything's on here," I said. "Bank records, emails, voice recordings, flight details. All of it." She plugged it into her laptop and scrolled through the files. Her eyebrows lifted. Melissa, this is meticulous. Most people don't have half this level of detail. I wanted to be sure. You are. When you're ready, this file will end him. He nodded. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even sad. I was just ready. Patricia looked at me carefully. How are you holding up? I'm fine, I said. And for the first time in months I meant it. Because I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the one in control. A week before Christmas, Evan didn't come home. I waited until midnight, then went to bed. He walked in at 3 a.m., stumbling slightly, smelling like perfume that wasn't mine. I pretended to wake up. Where were you? Working late. Big project. At 3 in the morning. Yes, Melissa. Not everyone can work a 9 to 5 and call it a day. He turned away from me and fell asleep instantly. I waited until his breathing slowed. Then I got up, walked to the bathroom and turned on the light. There was makeup on his collar. Dark red lipstick, smudged but visible. I took a picture. Then I went back to bed. He never even noticed. The next day, I did something Evan didn't expect. I legally transferred the house deed into my name alone. The house had been my grandmother's. She left it to me when she passed. Evan's name was never on the title. He'd contributed nothing to the mortgage, nothing to the taxes. It took one afternoon and a notary's signature. By evening it was done. The house was mine. Legally. Completely. 2 days later, Evan received an automated notice from the county office. I watched him open the envelope at the kitchen table. His face went pale. Then red. What the hell is this? What's what? This notice. It says the property deed was updated. Oh, yeah, I had to fix some paperwork. It's fine. Fix what? Legal stuff. My grandmother's estate. It's handled now. He stared at me like he didn't recognize me. You should have told me. Why? It's my house. He slammed the paper on the table and stormed out. I heard his car peel out of the driveway. I sat very still, my hands folded in my lap. Somewhere inside I smiled. That night Evan came back. He was calmer, but his eyes were sharp. We need to talk about that deed thing. There's nothing to talk about. It's legal. It's done. You can't just make decisions like that without me. I can actually. It's my property. His jaw clenched. We're married, Melissa. What's yours is mine. Not legally, I said quietly. He stared at me for a long moment. I could see him calculating, trying to figure out what I knew. Finally, he grabbed his coat. Whatever. Do what you want. He left. Again. An hour later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. He's planning to drain your account tonight. Thought you should know. I stared at the message. Then I opened my banking app and watched. Sure enough, at 11:47 p.m., there was a login attempt. Then another. Then a transfer request. All of them blocked. I sent the screenshots to Patricia with a single message. He tried. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat by the window watching the snow fall, waiting. At 2 a.m., Evan's phone lit up on the nightstand. He was asleep, snoring lightly. Picked it up. The screen showed a message to Jenna. Transfer didn't work. Don't worry. I'll just use her house to get back on my feet. She won't fight it. I took a picture of the screen. Then I put the phone back exactly where it was. When morning came, Evan woke up cheerful. Almost smug. I'll be gone most of the day, he said. Got a lot to wrap up before the holidays. Okay. Don't wait up tonight. I won't. He kissed me on the forehead, cold, automatic, and left. I waited until his car disappeared. Then I got dressed, grabbed my folder, and drove to the courthouse. The hearing was quick. Patricia presented the financial evidence, the documentation of Evan's attempts to access my accounts, and the proof that the house was solely mine. The judge reviewed everything and nodded. The protections are granted. Mr. Harding has no legal claim to the property or any accounts held solely in Ms. Harding's name. Patricia handed me the signed court order. It was official. I left the courthouse with the final piece of the puzzle tucked into my folder. On the drive home I felt strangely calm. The hardest part was over. Now I just had to wait. Evan had no idea what was coming. He thought he was spending Christmas with Jenna, starting a new life, leaving me behind with nothing. But when he walked through that door tonight, everything was going to change. I went home, made coffee, and sat by the tree. The lights blinked softly. The ornaments swayed. And I waited. Evan walked in at 7 p.m., suitcase in hand, face cold. "I'm spending Christmas with someone else," he said. No build-up. No hesitation. Someone who actually appreciates me. I didn't cry. Didn't beg. I just stood up, walked to the drawer, and pulled out the folder. I placed it on the coffee table between us. Evan glanced at it. "What's that?" "Open it." He did. Slowly. His smirk fading with every page. Flight records. Emails. Bank logs. Photos of him with Jenna. Screenshots of his messages. The court order. Everything. His face went white. "Where did you? You tried to steal from me, Evan. You lied. You cheated. And you thought I was too soft to do anything about it. This is insane. You've been spying on me. I've been protecting myself." I handed him the court order. "You have 48 hours to vacate the property. The house is mine. The accounts are mine. And the divorce papers are already filed." His hands shook as he read the document. "You can't do this." "I already did." Evan's face twisted. "I'll fight you. I'll take you to court. You can't just." "I already went to court," I said calmly. "This morning. You lost." He stared at me like I was a stranger. "You thought I didn't know," I continued. "But I've known for months. Every lie. Every trip. Every dollar you tried to steal. Melissa. And Jenna." I pulled out the printed email. "She called you broke. Said you were a temporary situation. Did you know that?" His face crumbled. I handed him another page. Screenshots from her social media. "She's been seeing someone else too. Looks like you weren't the only one keeping secrets." Evan grabbed his phone and called her. Rang. And rang. Then voicemail. He tried again. Same thing. "She blocked you," I said quietly. He looked at me, and for the first time I saw fear in his eyes. "This is the life you chose, Evan. Not me." Evan's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and went pale. It was an email from his boss. Subject line. Formal investigation notice. I didn't need to read it. Already knew. HR had been notified about his affair with a coworker. Workplace misconduct. Pending investigation. "Who told them?" he whispered. "Does it matter?" He looked at me, realization dawning. "You did this." "No, you did. I just made sure people knew." He tried to speak, but nothing came out. He grabbed his suitcase and headed for the door. "Wait," I said. He turned. "Leave your keys." He stared at me. Then slowly he pulled the keys from his pocket and dropped them on the table. And then he left. I locked the door behind him and stood there for a long moment, listening to the silence. It was over. The next morning Patricia called. "He's agreed to move out voluntarily. No fight. He knows he'll lose." "Good. The divorce will be finalized in 60 days. You're getting everything, house, savings, the car. He has no leverage." Exhaled. "Thank you, Patricia. You did this, Melissa. Not me." When I hung up, I walked through the house. Every room felt lighter. I changed the locks that afternoon. New deadbolts. New keys. That evening Sarah texted me. "You won't believe what happened to Evan." I didn't ask. I didn't care. Instead, I poured myself a glass of wine, sat by the tree, and let the lights blur into soft colors. For the first time in months I felt free. Over the next few weeks the truth came out. Jenna denied everything at work, claimed Evan had been harassing her. HR launched a full investigation. Evan was suspended without pay. His reputation crumbled. Friends stopped calling. His family asked questions he couldn't answer. He tried to reach me, texts, calls, emails. All blocked. One message got through though. From a mutual friend. He's been staying in a motel. Lost his job. Jenna won't talk to him. He's asking if you'd be willing to help. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it. The divorce settlement arrived in early February. I signed it without hesitation. The house, the savings, car. Everything I'd protected was officially mine. Evan got nothing. Because he'd earned nothing. Months later, I stood in my living room, decorating the tree for my first Christmas alone. The lights blinked softly. The air smelled like cinnamon and pine. I thought about the woman I used to be. The one who stayed quiet, who made excuses, who believed love meant sacrifice. That woman was gone. I pulled out my phone and saw one last message from Evan. Can we talk? I didn't reply. I just blocked him. For good this time. Outside the snow was falling. My friends would be here soon. We were having dinner, laughter, warmth, peace. I looked at the tree, at the life I'd rebuilt from the ruins he left behind. And I smiled. Because I didn't need his apology. I didn't need closure. I had something better. I had myself back.